the next piece that we're going to put together in our handstand training is to recall the fact that I mentioned in a previous video that it's a strength position, not so much just a balance, especially not if we're going to stay there for any period of time. And you may not remember it, but if we cast ourselves back far enough, there would have been a point where we couldn't stand on our feet. We had to learn to walk, and that involved falling down a lot. If you've had kids or you've seen kids go through that process, you'll see the relentless repetition of trying it out, falling, trying it out until they can stand up and not need assistance. And learning to stand on your hands, especially as adults, is a little bit like reviewing that process. So we have to embrace failing, we have to be willing to fail, and we have to do it a lot of times if we are going to give our nervous system the chance of being able to learn how to stabilise on our hands. That being said, there is one feature of our musculature that enables us to stand on our feet and even lets me stand here and not fall over. And I want you to do this with me at the same time, because this will help with a really important concept as to why we can stand on our feet. So I'm going to come side on and I'm going to put my feet together. I'm going to lock my legs straight at the knee, and I'm going to just see, and you're going to do this with me, how far you can lean forward without stepping. Push your boundaries, see how far you can go, and at that point where you feel like you're going to fall, you can probably come up onto your toes a bit more, and you can go a little bit further, and then come back to the start position. Okay? What did you notice when you did that? It was probably something that we all take for granted, and that's the strength that we have in our calves. Mine aren't a great example because they don't look that strong, but they're the reason why I'm able to stay on my feet, is because I have the strength to be able to dig my toes in and press down to be able to bring myself back to center. We have an equivalent set of calves in our arms that will enable us to be able to be in handstand and do the exact same thing. And that's going to be our forearms. Okay, so we are going to train our forearms to become calves so that we have the strength to be able to stay in handstand. Okay, so I'm going to have Callie as a body here now, and you're going to get square onto the camera to start with and review from what we talked about in the last video. Hand position specific for handstand is to be able to be shoulder width apart and screwed in. We're trying to get that turning force into the floor, and we know we've got that when our elbow pits are forward. Okay, elbow pits are pointing forward. Show us what they look like when they go in, into internal rotation, forward, external rotation. Now this is the strong position that we are going to demand that we stay locked in. From there, we're also going to lock in our scapular protraction, so we're starting to develop tension into the floor all the way through, locked at the elbow, into our scapular our scapular stabilizers through the shoulder. Okay, now from this position, we've got a lot of ways that we can make this more difficult, but the most basic one is going to be short kneeling. So Callie's going to find that position side onto the camera for us, so just spin around so that the body shape we can see from the side. So knees are going to be directly underneath the hips to start this drill. Callie has got this position of her hands, and we're going to do a calf raise, just how I would come up onto my first knuckle of my feet. We're going to come into our first knuckle of our hands. Okay, so from here, without losing the elbows into an internal rotation, we're going to press both hands together up to that top position, maintaining tension here, not letting the elbows fall in, and then we're going to slowly control down together, flow of contact till our hands come back into this position. Okay, so Callie's just going to do 5 reps. We call this short kneeling because the knees are underneath in this position here. Callie's going to do 5 reps coming up with control, and then she's going to come back down. Classic examples of what your body will do to get out of this position and escape tension. will be, for this next one, Callie's going to go down. As you come up this time, Callie's going to just weight shift back onto her knees and then come up, and notice that there was no tension there at all required in this calf raise. Was there?
No.
Come back forward, so that you could put a post behind you or something that just gives you a bit of feedback if you do come backwards, and press up. Spin around to face the camera, because there's another classic failure to maintain tension that I want to show you from the front. So this tension is built from the front, and again, remember, we want to be able to hold this handstand now in this position with these are our feet, and we're able to grip the weight into our toes to be able to manage sway and stay strong in a stacked handstand. We build our alignment elsewhere. This is our wrist flexion calf raise work. Not calf raise, it's forearm raise. From here, Callie's going to come up into one rep as high as she can onto the first knuckles. Come back down, put both together. Here, beautiful. This one's already started doing it. Maintain tension, elbow pits forward. Control the rep down. Come back up to this next one, keeping the elbow pits forward. And as soon as you can't manage that external torque into the floor, they will start rotating inwards. This time I'm going to just show it, elbow turns in and come up. That is what will happen, and that shows us that our level is now too difficult. Okay? Variations that are in the program to be able to train this without going back into a position where we're escaping tension would be coming up on one hand, so you can come up on this one, coming up on this one, maintaining tension, down both together slowly at the same time without letting these elbows go. Let's have a look at one more. Up on one, up on the other, and down. Fantastic. Just shake your arms off, because I know that even in that level there, that will be very intense. Now, the challenge will be mechanically, just like we did with hollow body, making it more difficult for you to be able to actually complete a wrist flexion repetition. Okay? And without compromising the position. So again, if I'm in this position and I go back here, I am not going to be developing the specific forearm flexion strength that's required where my forearm is in a handstand. Okay? So this time, spin around so that you're side onto the camera. We're going to have a look at long kneeling. So you're going to get your set up with short kneeling to start with. Everything stays exactly the same. Screwed into the floor, elbow pits, protraction. Now instead of short kneeling, everything here stays exactly where it is. You're going to take your knees back until you're in a straight body line. Okay? Do not let this position move. You've got to stay, this stays locked in. Now we are in a posterior pelvic tilt. Glutes are locked in, rib cage is down, long kneeling straight body line from here. Okay? Same thing now applies. Can we get up, maintaining elbow pits forward into top position? This is a hard progression, and you'll notice, go again. Now the level is too difficult for Callie. Go again. As she tries to come up, one will go first, then the other will go, which shows that we haven't got the strict strength to be able to press. So in that case, at this level in long kneeling, Callie would come up on one, up on the other. Now we've maintained tension here, tight, tight. And you're going to do a negative, control both down together, keeping that position there. One more. Up on this one, and down as a negative. Have a rest. That would be long kneeling. Okay? In the videos, I've got progressions to take you all the way up to being able to do these in a full plank. So I'm going to get this position, my handstand stance, locked in at the shoulders, at the elbows too, posterior pelvic tilt, press, top position. 2, 3, without weight shifting back. Okay, the relevance of this is it's very humbling, and if any of you get into the positions, a nice little test at the start into your plank and see if you can press up in that position. The vast majority of the answer for the vast majority of us, especially for me when I started this, was I couldn't move. In a handstand, our whole body, 100% of our body weight is on our hands. In a press up, 60–70%. So if we can't get a calf raise with our forearms in a plank with 60 or 70% of our body weight, we haven't got much chance when we've got 100% and we're trying to stay in handstand. So a goal with our forearm flexion work is to be able to get to 5 sets of 5 with the full plank there. Can even do it without thumbs, takes more musculature out of the press, and got to be strict on not coming out of that position, rocking backwards or losing tension through our elbows or our shoulders. Okay, let's have one more facing the camera. We'll go in long kneeling. So I want you guys to see what will probably happen to you when you've got try a level that is too hard. Lock in external rotation, lock that foot so you're really pressing through the floor. Imagine that you're pressing the floor away from you, recruiting whole body tension, squeeze in, squeeze in, squeeze in, and try and get up both hands at the same time. Got up. But that's not the strict reps. It's certainly not going to be anything that we can train for any period of time. So it'll be either one hand will go, then the other, elbow pits will go, or rock backwards. These are all things that I'll be picking up on the footage that you send me, and this is going to be important understanding for you when you are going at your calf forearm work.